I'm sure you can imagine what's in there if you haven't seen it. Basically, the report is saying that there'd be a huge financial impact, negative impact on law enforcement agencies between more DREs and new dogs and developing tests and hiring more people and everything else. How do you respond to that as someone who's done a lot of research?
Well, the first thing I have to respond to is the people who are making those claims themselves. Project SAM. You have to look at who Project SAM is and who they represent and who pays them and who funds them. I mean, if you really want to argue the point of an organization like them, then you have to know who you're arguing with and what they're about. Project SAM is funded by the for-profit drug rehab industry. They're funded by a company that actually makes a fentanyl product, believe that or not, but it's true. They're funded by, for instance, a lady named Julie Shower, who gave them $1.3 million. Julie believes that cannabis makes people murderers. So that's just the tip of the iceberg with Project SAM. But you want to talk about cost. First of all, the very notion of cost increases assumes that this is something new. It's not. It's not. It's been around for hundreds of thousands of years. And we have 11 other states that can tell you different. They talk about additional policing and DREs. They already have everything they need. They always have. We have roadside sobriety tests. We have courts. We have judges. And we have juries. If I'm on a jury and I see a person is impaired, I'm going to convict. Doesn't matter to me if they're impaired on coffee, cannabis, alcohol, emotional upheaval, prescription drugs, recreational drugs. If you're impaired, you shouldn't drive, and you already have all the tools you need. Unfortunately, law enforcement is looking for some kind of machine, something they can put a number on. Doesn't exist for cannabis. They can test your saliva, they can test all kinds of things, but they can't prove that you're impaired based on any number. Anywhere nearly as well as they could prove you're impaired simply with a field sobriety test, physical sobriety test, on camera. So at the very end of it, between your lawyers and yourself, when you're accused of something like that, it'll end up in the hands of a jury. And again, if I'm on the jury, I'll convict. So you don't really need all that. As far as training dogs, I guess that's part of evolution. That's part of the price we pay for having made something illegal that never should have been illegal in the first place. So how about we train our dogs for this millennium? Cannabis shouldn't even be on the list there. So impaired driving, they're talking about the cost of mitigating the impaired driving. 70,000 plus medical marijuana patients are on the road every day in New York State. They drive to and from dispensaries, all, by the way, have parking lots. Another 250,000 people use medical or cannabis either medically, recreationally, or for wellness every day. They didn't bother to get that card, but mark my words, they sure do use it every single day. So where's the body count? This is not new. But what is happening is Massachusetts legalized. And if they're really concerned with highway safety, why don't they have a problem that thousands a day travel to Massachusetts every single day for their cannabis? I know this because I've been to the dispensaries there. Every other car has a New York State plate. Where's the body count, Sheriff? Where's the body count, Project SAM? See, it's all baloney. Breathalyzers? There's no breathalyzer that can show impairment. All any breathalyzer or blood test can do when it comes to cannabis is show that you used some cannabis sometime, perhaps in the last 30 days or so. The effects only last an hour or so. So there's no machine that's ever going to give them that. But again, they have the tools they need: field sobriety tests, cameras, judges, juries, and courts. They got into making a cigarette comparison. I don't even know where that's coming from. That's just striking out, blindly. And then they make claims like, according to a recent scholarly analysis. That's pretty blind, isn't it? See, I can debunk every single study that's ever been done and finds against cannabis legalization, because cannabis legalization is built on a foundation of lies. It has never been about the cannabis. It's always been about demonizing a certain group of people. I think our sheriff's a good sheriff. I think he's a good man, but he's wrong on this. He's dead wrong on this, and he's only guilty of believing the lies that we've been fed for nearly a century now. I can't give him a pass on that because he's in a position of authority, but people need to understand where cannabis Prohibition started and what it was all about. And finally, it's not my sheriff's job to politicize anything. He's in law enforcement. And to me, when any of my law enforcement employees, and that's what they are, my employees, your employees, are out there politicizing law change, they're not protecting us. They're not doing their job of law enforcement. We elect people to make laws. And we hire or elect law enforcement to enforce those laws. I don't think those lines should be blurred. Any other questions?
Wow. You answered them all, I think, right? B-roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. You answered them all. A lot
Cool.
of decent bites in there.
Thank you.
You bet.
I appreciate the chance to do it.